Stone of Tears, Episode 7, Chapter 2. If he is distrustful, how shall I convince him to trust me? Zed smiled. Tell him I said it's the truth. The toasted toad's truth. Trimrick's eyes widened with incredulity. You wish the Commander General of the First File to say such a childish thing to the Lord Rahul? Zed straightened his face and cleared his throat. It's a code, Commander. He will understand it. Trimwick nodded but looked skeptical. I had better see to the Garden of Life and the rest of it. No disrespect intended, but you look like you could use some rest. He tilted his head towards where the army of maidservants were still cleaning the blood off the marble floor. All the healing you did looks to have tired you. It did. Thank you, Commander Trimrick. I will take your advice. Trimrick's fist snapped to his heart, the salute softened by the hint of a smile. He began to turn, but hesitated. His intense blue eyes looked back at the wizard. May I say, Wizard Zorander, that it has been a pleasure to at last have one with the gift in the palace who is more concerned with putting people's guts back inside than spilling them out. I have never seen the like of it. Zed did not smile. His voice was quiet. I'm sorry, Commander, that I could do nothing for that lad. Trimrick gave a sorrowful nod. I know that to be the truth, Wizard Zorander. The toasted toad's truth. Zed watched the commander stride across the hall, drawing armored men to him like a huge magnet. The wizard brought his hand up, staring at the gold chain looped over his stick-like fingers. He gave a pained sigh. Wizard's business, using people. And now for the worst of it. He brought the black tear-shaped stone from a pocket deep in his robes. The spirits be cursed, he thought, for the things a wizard must do. He held the mounting where the blue stone had been and pressed the point of the smooth black stone to it. Elemental power flowed from the fingers of each hand, joined in the middle, welding the stone to the mount. Hoping he was wrong, Zed brought forth a painful memory of his long-dead wife. With the way Jebber's mind had shredded his bearers, it wasn't difficult. When a tear ran over his cheek, he wet his thumb in it and shut the memory away with the greatest of effort. He smiled a little at the irony that wizards had to use even themselves, and that horrible memory at last brought with it one with little pleasure to balance it. Holding the black stone in the palm of one hand, he buffed its surface with the tear-dampened thumb. The stone turned a clear amber as he rubbed it with his thumb. His heart sank a little. There was no doubt now as to what it was. Resigned to what must be done, Zed wove a wizard's web around the stone. The spell would work to hide the true nature of the stone from everyone except Richard. More important, the web would draw Richard's attention to the stone. If he ever saw it, the attraction would be planted firmly in his mind. He glanced over at Chase, who was stretched out on his back on the marble bench across the hall. One foot was planted on the floor. Rachel was sitting on the ground, an arm wrapped around his calf, her head against his knee. His other foot was on the bench. A bandaged forearm rested across his forehead. Zed sighed and started across the polished marble floor. He wondered for a moment what the boundary warden was supposed to guard now that the boundary was gone. He stopped, standing over the two. Without removing his forearm from his eyes, Chase spoke. Zed, my old friend, if you ever again have some ruthless, strong-armed witch of a healer pour a concoction that tastes that spirits be cursed foul down my gullet, I'll twist your head around so you'll have to walk backward to see where you're going. Zed grinned. Now he knew he had picked the right woman for the job. Did the medicine taste really awful, Chase? Rachel asked. He lifted his arm a little, letting it hover over his eyes as he looked down on her, at her. He looked down at her. If you ever call me Chase again, you may find out. Yes, father, she grinned. I'm sorry she made you drink that awful medicine. Her face turned to a pout. But it scares me something fierce to see blood on you. He grunted. She peered at him. Maybe next time, if you take your sword out when I tell you to, you won't get blood on you and won't have to drink awful medicine. Zed marveled at the childlike innocence of the perfectly delivered stinging rebuke. Chase held his head up a little off the bench with his arm frozen in the air several inches above his eyes as he glowered at the little girl. Zed had never seen a man struggle so mightily to keep from laughing. Rachel's nose wrinkled up, and she giggled at the strained face he was making. May the spirits be mercifully kind to your future husband, Chase said, and at least grant him a few years of peace until you lay your eyes on the poor damn fool. What does that mean? Chase swung his legs down and sat up. He scooped her up and plopped her down on his knee. I'll tell you what it means. It means there's a new rule. And this one you better not break. No, father, I won't. What is it? From now on, he said with a scowl, his face close to hers, if you need to tell me something important and I do not listen, you ought to kick me, hard as you can, and you just go on kicking me until I listen. Got it? Yes, father. I'm not joking. I mean it. I promise, Chase. End of chapter 6.